Hello everyone, my name is Pukar Dhital. I'm an English instructor and today we're going through Grade 7 English. We'll be covering the chapter Narrating Events. So let's begin the chapter.
So let's talk about past tense today. So what do you know about past tense? See, it's used to define the past happenings, right? So if we are to further go deeper into past tense, all right, we will have 4 of its kind, okay? Let's say here, tense, all right, and auxiliary verb, and let's here talk about example. All right, so let's start from, remember, every tense has 4 kind. All right, so here we begin with simple past. Simple past. Now, auxiliary verb that we use in simple past is often, in fact, it's did, okay? Did. Now, what is simple past then? All right, so this simple past always, it is used to express some indefinite time in the past. See, so simple past is used to express some indefinite time in the past. Indefinite time means what? Unknown time. It happened in the time. Indefinite time means what? Unknown time. It happened in the past, yes, for sure, but when it happened, we just don't know. That's why it happened somewhere in the past. Maybe it happened a minute ago, maybe it happened 10 minutes ago, 10 years ago, or maybe it happened 10 million years ago, all right? So that's why some event that happened somewhere in the past, all right? Indefinite time in the past is what we call simple past here. The time is not expressed here, okay? Let's say, for example, would be, the ship struck against the rock. Yes, the ship struck against the rock. It happened in the past. When did it strike? When did the ship strike? See, it did. And we take this to strike to struck. Simple past. That's why the ship struck against the rock. When in past, we don't know. It's indefinite time. Okay, so that is simple past. Number 2, past continuous. Past continuous, and its auxiliary used in past continuous is, if it's singular, we use was. If it's plural, we use were. Now, always remember, as long as you see continuous, whenever you see continuous, UNTINUOUS, continue. Whenever you see continuous, all right, you always add ing in the verb. So let's say ing form of verb. This will be easier to understand, okay? In the verb, whenever you see continuous, you always add ing form, all right? So an example. And what does past continuous mean then? See, past continuous mean, all right, it is used to express continuity of an action in the past. See, past continuous, to express continuity of an action in the past, meaning something happened in the past and it continued for some time. Something happened in the past and it continued for some time. So, all right, so if I have to give an example, so when you talk of an example, so the students, because I've used plural here, we go for were, okay? The students were doing their assignment. The students were doing their assignment in the classroom. See, the students were doing their assignment in the classroom. This is the example. Now, the students were doing, meaning the action happened in the past, were doing, and it continued for some time. That's why it's past continuous. Okay, let's move further. Okay, so we go for tense, we go for auxiliary verb, and we go for an example. Okay, so now we have number 3, past perfect. Now, what does past perfect do? All right, now past perfect is used to indicate an action which is completed in the past time. Completed in the past time. See, past perfect is used to indicate an action which is completed in the past time, meaning something is started in the past and it was completed in the past, right? An action that is started in the past and it got completed in the past is what we call past perfect. Now, past perfect is used also to express an imaginary conditional state in the past. Now, I'll clarify this with an example. All right, so auxiliary verb for past perfect is had. Okay, had. So example would be for the first one, the government had abolished the old laws. See, meaning in the past, the government had abolished means put an end to, right? Put an end to, see, completed in the past, okay? Completed in the past. The government had put an end to the old laws. The government had abolished the old laws. And for this imaginary condition, remember, it is also used to express an imaginary conditional state in the past. Had you played well, we would have won the match. Now, here the team has already lost the match. Okay, that's why this is they would imagine, and they are perhaps blaming a certain individual. See, had you, this is imaginary because in the past they've already lost the game, but they're imagining that had you played well, maybe someone did not play well. So now they are saying, had you played well, if only had you played well, the consequences would have been different. We would have won the match. All right, that's why, because this is an imaginary statement. Why? Because they have lost the match, but they're just imagining that had you played well, you would have won the match. Have you read well, you would have passed the examination, meaning a person has failed here. Had you studied well, you would have passed the examination. See, that's imaginary conditional state in the past. So to express these two, we also use past perfect. Okay, now let's move further. And finally, we have, okay, let's go here. Tense again, auxiliary verb, and of course, example. Okay, and this is number 4, which we call past perfect continuous. And remember what I said, whenever you see continuous, remember there's always ing form of the verb. Okay, so, and its auxiliary verb is had been plus ing form verb. So what is past perfect continuous? All right, so past perfect continuous is used to indicate an action that began sometime in the past and is still going on. See, so past perfect continuous is used to indicate an action that began sometime in the past. So some action had begun somewhere in the past, sometime in the past. But you know what? It is not over. It has not been completed. And the action still continues and is still going on. See, it began in the past. It began sometime in the past and is still going on. Okay, so its auxiliaries had been plus ing form of verb. Now, for an example, you can also think of an example, by the way, okay? Now, I'm going to write here, let's say as an example, my cousins had been eating candies since they arrived in my house. See, my cousins had been eating candies. Now, they started eating somewhere in the past. They had been eating candies. Now, since when? Since the time since they arrived in my house, they had been eating candies and they're still continuing to eat candies. See, my cousins had been eating. Look at this ing here again. Okay, why ing? Because to understand it in a very simplified manner, because this continuous would always bring ing form of the verb. Here, eat, we apply this ing to eat. Okay, so my cousins had been eating candies since they arrived in my house. So this is all about past tense, right? There's 4 kinds of past tense that we just talked about. Now let's move further. Now that you know this, how about this exercise? Okay, for our easiness, let's mark this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now look at this. Match the questions below with the appropriate answer. Now, our job is here to match the question, right, and give it a proper answer. Where were you last week? We're talking about the whole week here, all right? So Yes, of course. You can take a time first of all. Take around maybe 3 to 5 minutes time to do this work, and after that you can have a look at this slide. Okay, where were you last week? I was on vacation. I'm going to do few. Where did you go? Figure it out. What was the weather like there? Figure it out. What did you do there? Okay, let's look at number 4. What did you do there? What do you think must have been done there? Okay, I went swimming. Was Dave there? Oh, I bet. Yes, he was. Did you do anything interesting last week? Yes, I did sing and we had a barbecue. And rest you can do it, okay? Who did you eat with yesterday? And who did you meet at the ranch? What did you wear yesterday? What time did you leave? These all can be done, okay? Let's move further. Now you probably understand that the past continuous, remember we talked about that? Talks about the action in progress in the past, whereas simple past talks about the action that happened in the past. See, past continuous, something happened in the past and it continued for some time. All right, while simple past talks about something that happened in the past. All right, so write 2 sentences as in the example. So our task here is to write 2 examples as given here. So yesterday I went to the zoo. Some people were feeding the animals. 2 sentences. See, yesterday I went to the zoo. First sentence. Some people were feeding the animals. Second sentence. So I'm going to help you with number A, perhaps. Okay. So let's go with number A. Last weekend I went to Pokhara. Okay. Now make sure the second question is past continuous. Okay. Last weekend I went to Pokhara. Now second part must be past continuous. I saw many tourists were walking in the lake side. Many tourists were walking in the lake side. Right? Were walking. I went. See? Now let's do one more example here, and rest you can do it as a homework. All right? Last night. Okay, number E, I'll do it here. Last night I went to the party. It was wonderful to see people dancing while some were enjoying the music. See? Last night, I went to the party. We took it to simple past first. It was wonderful to see people dancing while some were enjoying the music. Okay, so this is how you can make 2 sentences here for each of these phrases given here. Okay, so now you can work on last summer, last year, 2 months ago, last night. This you can do it as your homework. Okay, so let's move further. Here we go. All right, what do we have here is a crossword puzzle. All right, fill in the puzzle with the simple past tense forms of the verbs in the clues. All right, so it's very simple. Fill in the puzzle with simple past tense forms of the verb in the clues. Where are the clues? Clues are here. Okay, here you go. These are the clues. Okay, see, table across. Across means it's horizontal. Okay, like this. We look across. Wait, leave, teach, walk, talk, make, cook, stay. Now, down means vertical. Now, for vertical, all right, this is horizontal. Across, right? This is down or vertical. Okay, so just look at these words: wait, leave, teach, walk, stay, cook, make, talk, have, visit, go, play, fly, was, do, write, be. Now we're all taking these verbs into their respective past form. Okay, simple past, in fact, to be precise. Here you go. Do observe those. Okay. Now I'm going to do 3. All right. Oh, okay. So let me pick up randomly. Okay, let's say across 5. So what is the past, simple past form of across 5? Means leave, and that is, so you know the answer, right? L-E-F-T, left. Now let's say vertical, that is down 3. What is down 3? Down 3 is go. What is the simple past form of go? Go, W-E-N-T, went. What is the simple past of wait? 3 across. 3 across. Okay, wait. Okay, here we go. Wait. W-A-I-T-E-D. Waited. 1 down. What do we have 1 down? Have is had. See, so this is how it's very fun. I'm sure you can do it in the classroom itself, right? And of course, this you can do it in no time. Okay, so you're just filling these a crossword puzzle, all right, with simple past form of the verb as given. Okay, now let's move ahead again. Now, talking about verb, by the way, all right. Now verb can be an English verb can be regular or irregular. So what are these regular and irregular verb? All right. Now, whenever it's regular verb, here is regular verb, here is irregular verb. All right. So regular verb might form their past or past participle by adding ed. So whenever you have a regular verb, it always forms when you add ed to the main verb. Now, for example, she walked, paint, let's say, becomes painted. So whenever we have this ed added, we call it a regular verb, okay? Work gets what? Worked, we're taking it to past, okay? So, on the other hand, irregular verb, now they form their past or past participle in different ways. Now, what is that different ways? Okay? Now, irregular verb, on the other hand, form their past or past participle forms in different ways. So what are those different ways? Now, first is verbs where all the three verbs are same. For example, the first is where all the three verbs are same. For example, put. See, nothing changed here. No ed here. It never uses ed, by the way, okay? Now, number two could be, now where this is a verb where all the three forms are same. See, put. And number two, verbs in which two or three forms are the same. Like, for instance, sit, sat, and sat. See, sit, sat, sat. The way verb change, we never write seated, S-I-T-E-D, or, all right, or S-I-T-T-E-D, okay, S-I-T-T-E-D, or we never go it like satted, S-A-T-E-D, satted. So see, again, look at that, sit or sit, sat, sat. Again, this is also irregular verb, okay. And finally, verbs in which all three forms are different. For example, drink, remember three form, drank, and finally, drunk. You see, all three forms are different. And we never add ed here. So whenever this happens to a verb, we call it irregular verb. See, if all the three forms remain the same, if two or three changes like sit, sat, sat, two of the verb change there. Sit changes to sat, and sat again changes to sat itself, right? Again, it's irregular. And drink, drank, drunk, when all the three form changes, it's what we call irregular verb. Okay? And for your information, some verb can be both regular or irregular. See, both regular and irregular. Now, how? Like, for example, look at this. Burn, burnt, burnt. All right, this becomes irregular. See, irregular. Okay. And second, again, the same verb, burn. We can also write this as burned, burned, burn. And this is, when you add ed, it becomes a regular verb. See? Similarly, we can have many words, in fact, like, for instance, dream, dreamt, 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 and again, dreamt. See, without ed, this becomes irregular. And once again, I'm going to drag you to dream again, the main verb. Dream, dreamed, D-R-E-A. And now we add ed, dreamed. Again, we add ed, D-R-E-A-M. ed, dreamed. This again becomes regular verb. Now, in case you are wondering, hey, what is it he's talking about, past and past participle, all right? Now, there's a very simple difference here. Now, if you want to compare simple past and past participle, then, of course, so what's the difference here when I talk about simple past and past participle? The difference is that The simple past, you see, it stands on its own. Like, for example, it stands on its own. It stand on its own means what? It itself is complete. For example, he ate, see, this is simple past. He ate an apple. One example. Number 2 could be he rode the boat. Now, having written this, again, rode is simple past. Okay. Now, if it's past participle, it always uses an auxiliary verb, right? Now, past participle, it uses an auxiliary verb, all right, such as is, am, are, or have, or has, or had, okay, or it could be was, where, right? So, for example, now the same example, see, it becomes past participle when you write. See, he ate an apple is simple past. It is stand on its own. It does not need, the verb does not need any supporting verb like auxiliary verb or modal verb, right? Now here, on the other hand, in past participle, he ate an apple becomes he had eaten an apple, and he had rowed the boat. See, this becomes past participle. All right. Now that we know this, now that we know what is regular and irregular verb, let's do this exercise. All right. This you can do it as a homework. See, this is classified here. Now these are all the words which you will find it. Once again, I would like to remind you, which you will find it here. See, these are the words we're dealing with. Every word, classify these words into regular and irregular verb. Now, if you come here again, see, here it is. You got to go back to the video, all right, where I've shown that, and see, leave is irregular, right, left, simple past, and regular, waited, right? Why is leave irregular? Because see, when its verb changes, it becomes left. It doesn't add ed here. We don't write leaved. So I'm going to do 2 more to you. All right. So here, if I have to say, I would say here teach, teach, because its simple past should be taught, taught. Taught. Similarly, I can write here go, because its simple past will be gone. There are many more. Okay, you'll have to figure out all those. Remember, all those clues must be classified. Okay, now here let's have 2 more. Walk, walked, right? And again, stay, stayed. When we add ed, it becomes right. This you can also complete it as a homework. So thank you very much, and if you have any queries, feel free to email us at learning@deerwalk.edu.np. Thank you.